Hi, Eric Redbeard here, letting you know that Pro Wrestling Valier, Classic Championship Wrestling, and Seven Mountains Wrestling are uniting. Coming to the York Revolution Stadium, May 20th, 2023. See you there.
Welcome, everybody, to Three Beards of Wrestling. I am your host, Shane. Next to me is the Mind of Mayhem, Corey Cross.
It's me, baby. What's going on? What's going on, Ping? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Long day.
Long days indeed, man.
Definitely.
Before we start, I want to say, for those who don't know, congratulations to you and your wife, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys. As we're getting started, if you guys got any questions throughout the podcast at all for me, Corey, or our guests tonight, please comment, and we'll add the questions in as we're going through our questions that we have for our guests. Let's start out again. Oh yeah, by the way, if you missed the Mark Mess seminar this past weekend, you messed up. Because I heard it was pretty good.
I heard good things.
Remember, guys, it's coming up shortly. The month of March, Fort Knoxville will be giving free tryouts the whole entire month of March. So if you want to be a ref, announcer, wrestler, did I miss something? Or a manager?
Yeah.
And reserve your spot. That way you can live your dream, man. Next, March 11th, York, PA, Vonnie B. Grind Gym. We will be hosting Valor Pro Wrestling. I will be on that show, and Corey will be on that show.
You never know where I'll show up. I might. You never know. I might.
Definitely don't want to miss that.
Nope.
Next will be April 1st, and I don't even know where this is. Somewhere. PCWA. It's on the poster somewhere. I didn't get to read it before. Ceilings Grove, I guess. If you guys need tickets, I'll be on that show. I don't know if Corey will be there, but Rob Noxious will be there, and a couple
Never know.
of you guys. Next up, Ultimate Wrestling Empire, April 22nd, at Dauphin County Technical School. I will be on that show. And our guests will be on that show as well. Corey, I don't know if you're going to be on that show at all.
Okay, you never know. Bookers, reach out, promoters. Let's do business.
Definitely. And the next, pretty big show of the year, May 20th, CCW Valor, Seven Mountains United, the York Revelation Stadium in York, PA. If you guys need tickets, please hit us up. That is Corey's backyard, and now
It is, man. Let's do it.
I guess technically my backyard now, since I live in York now.
Let's get weird with it.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be a good show. As you've seen in the beginning, Eric Redbeard is going to be there. Who knows who else is going to show up, to be honest. Well, I think it's time to bring on our guest now, Corey.
I think it is. Does he want to do the intro? I can do the intro.
Hey, how about you do the intro this time?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mind of Mayhem, Three Beards of Wrestling, proudly present to you the wrestler of the millennium, Louis G. Rich.
What's up, fellas?
That was pretty good, Corey. Maybe you should start doing that every show.
Maybe you'll get booked more if you start doing like ring announcing or something.
I'll just hang out with you more, Rich. I'll get all the bookings. It's fine.
Hey. How are you doing tonight, Rich?
I'm doing good. I haven't done a podcast in a couple years, so let's see how much I stutter over my words.
Hey, I do almost every week because maybe I'm part like retarded or something. But hey.
CTE.
Yeah.
So I know podcast normally it's the guest who gets asked questions, but I feel like I should start off with a question. You guys,
rock and roll.
who's the third beard?
All right.
So as of now, you surprise.
Yeah.
There it is.
So this is how it kind of started. So it was me, Jamal, and my boy Ricky. We all have beards, so we're like, all right, 3 beards of wrestling. So Jamal was always at work, and he was sick the one time, so he hasn't been on for a couple episodes. So then it was me, Ricky, and Corey, and then Ricky started working more, and then it just came down to me and Corey. So now, like, we got to find like a third beard person. But
I'm just
So we can only book talent who has beard.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the rule.
I like it.
100%.
So, hey, let's jump right into this.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start out.
Good.
How did you get start? How did you get your start into wrestling?
All right. How far back do you want to go? So I grew up just a huge wrestling fan. From one of my earliest memories is of professional wrestling. Growing up, I did the cool early 2000s thing. I, did backyard wrestling with my friends. And then after I graduated high school, my friend, and you both should know this guy, a guy named Alan Cross. We've known each other since first grade, and he's still to this day one of my best friends. And he started training with a couple of guys, and they were in a situation where they wanted to have 2 students, so that way they could practice the moves on each other rather than taking the bumps and everything. Well, the other guy backed out. He couldn't hack it for whatever reason. And my friend Alan reached out to me and said, "Hey man, I got a spot, with these guys who are looking for students. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So gave my money to these 2 dudes, and they trained us for a while. We ended up getting hooked up through them with this company called Maximum Championship Wrestling out of Delaware. Guys like Massive Mike, E.L. Stanley, a lot of talent out of the Delaware area, and that's where I got a lot of my training from. They, put us in a ring. That's where I had like my first shows. So that was back in 2006. So when I started training and had my first match.
Oh wow!
I dig it. I dig it.
I definitely dig it. Yeah. What's better than training with your friends?
Right.
Say again?
I said, what's better than training with your friends?
Yeah. He's like I said, he's been friends with him since first grade. He's been with it. My son calls him uncle. I explained to him we're not blood related, but that's my brother. When my wife and I got married and we did the family picture, he went to go. So I'm like, "Where are you going? Get up here! This is the family picture. You can be up here." So
nice.
I guess we forgot the April 8th show again. Well, I guess I did. There's no post for yet, but April 8th, 7 Mountains Wrestling in Lewistown, PA. So there we go. I'll get that.
Need a poster. Need a poster. Get it over.
Poster.
All right, Rich. Where in wrestling does Louis G. Rich draw inspiration from?
2023 Louis G. Rich.
Louis G. Rich in general. Where have you pulled through your entire career?
Man, well, so it really depends on what. I hate to do this whole it depends on what Louis Rich you ask, but I mean, throughout my career, there's definitely been different things I was pulling from. When I first got in, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. There's going to be girls falling at my feet. I'm gonna have all these fans and make all this money. And as I got more and more into it, a lot of my inspiration, besides the obvious answers of the wrestlers who came before me, the Chris Jericho's, the Ric Flair's, the Shawn Michaels, those guys, but beyond that, I used to get picked on a lot in locker rooms because I considered wrestling an art. And I honestly look to a lot of different people outside of the wrestling medium that, for inspiration. Because I think wrestling is the coolest thing ever. Like it transcends just what wrestling is. It's a rock show. It's interpretive dancing. It's fighting. It's all those things matched into one. So, I've pulled inspirations from so many different things. I guess now, old man Logan Lewis G. Rich, I pull inspiration, honestly, from my son. Like, I think my son is a rock star. I think he's just the most amazing human being I've ever met, and I want him to see me wrestle a few matches and like him to be proud of me and think what his Jeremy does is really cool. So yeah, I think I answered your question.
You totally do. And honestly, we're all still Lincoln Strong, man.
Yeah,
that little man is inspiration to everybody. 100%.
Definitely. So let's go when you first started, Rich. What was Louis G. Rich's first ever gimmick?
First ever gimmick. So in training, my original name was Jeremy Wright. I was going to be a bit of like a heel religious character. I was going to come out with like this big book called the Book of Wright. And my promos would, the gimmick for the promos would be like, in page 317, the gospel says, you shall not, cross Jeremy Wright. So says the Book of Wright. So, it shall be done, or some hokey super indie shit like that. Then I'd have this big book and I would slam it and all that stuff. I thought it was super cool. So, one of my first matches, I was still wrestling as Jeremy Wright, but I hadn't really started doing the gimmick yet because I was just the guy who got on shows and got beat up and things like that. And I went to the promoter and started like just shooting a bunch of ideas and, hey, you should put me and this guy in a tag team, and hey, you misspelled my name and blah, 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 blah. So the promoter's like, can I cuss on this, by the way?
Hey.
Oh, okay, cool. So the promoter's like, who the fuck is this guy? And it got back to my trainers, and kind of as a like punishment, they took my name away from me. They made me Louis Rich. Originally, it was just Louis Rich. And if you don't know what Louis Rich is, I'm not going to tell you. You have to go Google it. And yeah, so the idea was like, well, this kid kind of shot himself in the foot. Let him dig his way out. And so my original gimmick with Louis Rich was I was the Family Dollar Man, Louis Rich. My whole gimmick was I came out with send signs on my gear. Instead of doing the $1 million challenge, I would do like the $2 challenge. And when I lost, I would sell it like I was bankrupt. I did that for the first few years. And then I got really tired of just being a comedy wrestler, and then it evolved from there. But yeah, so the very first gimmick is this religious gimmick that I came up with. But I think the one that more people might remember is the broke rich guy. I think that's probably what I met most of you guys. Maybe not you, Jamal, but I'm pretty sure Ping and Corey. It's probably when you first met me. I was probably still doing the money gimmick.
That's when I met you.
You met me doing the money gimmick?
Yeah, it was on the down spiral because you were tagging with Brandon.
No, I was way past the money gimmick by then. I already had the G. I was Louis G. Rich at that point. I had already done the plaque and everything at that point. I'm talking about Bay City Thrashers. Yeah, that was way. Oh, there goes the camera. Damn, he just got abducted. Don't be back. No. It's actually a quick funny story. I wrestled a CCW show, and I was super intimidated because like that locker room is not like really any other locker room you go into. Like, it's a room full of family, and then I'm just this green kid, probably got like less than a year, a little over a year at the time, under my belt. And I walk in, and it's just like, these guys are going to rip me apart. And I was I was working money, and he was like, "Hey, brother, I do the money gimmick here, right?" I was like, "No, I swear, it's not that kind of money gimmick." So, no, I wasn't working him. He just was fucking with me in the locker room. I worked. Oh man, I can't remember who I worked. And then, he came up and was like, I didn't know he was ripping me at the time. I thought he was really like, I know like stealing people's gimmicks and stuff's a big no-no. And he's just like, I do the money gimmick here. I'm like, no, it's not like that. So,
yeah, no, I think you and I first crossed paths, Cubby Pro, sir.
wow, was it that long? Like, because I mean, I was quite a bit in my career, so I was definitely doing the Wrestle Millennium by then.
You and I mean, we might have crossed paths towards the end of the Family Dollar Man, but you and Brandon, it was the Thrashers at Cubby Pro. I used to come down with Ian Buddha.
Yep. So by the time Brandon got in, I was pretty well past the Wrestle of the Millennium gimmick, because I mean, to make this one answer question a much longer answer. So I did the Family Dollar Man thing for a bit, and then I kind of went through like a period of like trying a couple of different things. Like I was doing like an absolutely perfect gimmick, and that's when like Ziggler started getting bigger. So I was like, oh, I can't do that. And then I was doing kind of like a power of the punch thing, but I'm like, because I'm a huge Regal mark, but I was like, I'm just Regal but American, so that's not gonna work. And then I started thinking about like what I liked about wrestling and stuff. And I used to love when Owen came out with the 2 slammies, and I was like, I need like a gimmick. And I came up with the Wrestle of the Millennium. I'm like, what an asshole thing to say. Like, I'm the Wrestler of the Millennium. I'm the best wrestler of the Millennium. And this was probably like, if I started in 2006, this was probably like 2009. So it's like, we're 9 years in this Millennium, and I'm already the best one that you're going to come across. So
yeah, because you and Brandon were painted on the walls of the Cubby Pro Sportatorium.
I could have ran for mayor in West Virginia and freaking won.
I still need those. I still need those pastel paintings.
I think they got thrown away, dude. I think you and I were talking about this. I think they tried to like give them to some people, and nobody wanted them. And I'm like, why didn't they call me? I was totally taking them. But, yeah.
You, Brandon, Shay, Cody. It'd have been great.
Shane Douglas,
big John Green. Yeah, the whole nine. Yeah. Yep.
Well, Jamal, since you just got on here, well, I guess we'll go to you next.
I was cleaning shoes. I'm sorry. So, all right. What was like a more, I would say, what impacted you to become you?
What impacted me to become me? I mean, I'm the middle of 7 kids, so I've just always been loud, obnoxious. Like, my goal is to make people laugh. Like, is it douchey to say I'm a natural entertainer? I mean, if it is, I don't really care, because I know I am. So I don't really care. But I'm naturally an entertainer. I naturally like doing things to get a reaction out of people, whether it's make them laugh or piss them off or whatever. I like getting reactions. So I think a big part of that is like what made me, as far as made Lewis rich, and then just my love for wrestling and the art of professional wrestling, and finding different ways to get reactions out of the crowd rather than just doing the really easy, your hometown team sucks, or I'm not from here, I'm from a town you don't like. And, and even within, still doing the Wrestler of the Millennium gimmicks, finding ways to reinvent that character and doing different things. Like, right before I got out, it's funny. I was listening to a podcast, and they mentioned, and it was a real fleeting thing. They didn't really even go too far into detail about it. They talked about the scorpion and the frog. Are you guys familiar with that story? It's right. There's like a river they have to cross, the frog is like, the scorpion asks the frog to help him across. The frog's like, no, I can't help you. You're a scorpion. You'll stab me in the back. And the scorpion's like, no, you're helping me. Why would why would I do that? Probably the frog says, okay, I'll help you. And he gets about halfway across the river, and the scorpion stabs him. And as the frog's dying, he's like, we're both going to die now. Why would you do that? And he goes, he's like, how, you're a fool. Why would you trust me? I'm a scorpion. It's in my nature. And it was like, they just mentioned it like a real, like, it was like a throwaway line. He was like, yeah, like the scorpion and the frog, it's their nature to be evil, or their nature to be this. Right? I was like, that would make such a cool gimmick. Like, it's such a cool. So I ran with that. And that was actually one of the last things I did before I stepped away from wrestling in 2018. My promos were like, I would tell, it was kind of like a Jake the Snake, like that. Remember that awesome run where the trust me? He would always end his entrance music was like, trust me. So I was like, all right, cool. I want to be freaking Jake the Snake meets Ric Flair. Like, what a weird combo that's going to be. So I would cut these like super like weird like promos where I tell these like fables, and I told one about like cows jumping off a cliff. Like, I would tell these, and I would pull whoever I was working the program with into the stories and stuff. So I don't know what inspires me. All kinds of shit. Jamal, if you're expecting one-word answers out of Louis G. Rich, you shouldn't have had me on the show. Every question's going to take at least 15 minutes. So refill your drinks, whoever's listening.
At least.
My wife and son's in the other room. I'm yelling. They're probably wondering what's going on. I'm trying to keep the cuss words low, but the other stuff high.
Right. Don't calm down.
Hey, they're not.
Just blew out everybody's speakers. Everybody's checking their audio level. Oh, Rich is yelling again.
I got excited. God, not breaking the plaque this time. It's fine. Whatever.
So I guess I would have to ask this: if you had to pick one match that would like be it, what would it be?
To be it, like my final match.
Final match.
Oh, I don't want to say it because like I want to do it, but I don't want to say it. I'll put it this way: it's someone who, but fuck, I don't care. I want to wrestle Alan. My final match is I want to wrestle Alan Cross. So if you're watching this, Alan, I've already talked to him about it. So, but yeah, that's he was the first match I ever had, all the way back in the backyard, and we trained together. We won tag teams titles together. We beat the hell out of each other in multiple states. I mean, we're both not the best of ring shape anymore, but we're gonna go out there. I would love, my image would be going out there beating the ever loving crap out of each other in front of our friends and family, and then ugly crying like just the two biggest sissies in the world, and that'd be it. And then I'd set my boots on fire and walk away forever.
Like
right in the middle of the ring.
No.
Right in the middle of the ring.
That would be the dream. If I could do that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that definitely sounds awesome. That's one way to go out.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know it's supposed to be like I should work some young kid and like give him fuck the young kids. I want to wrestle my buddy one last time.
That's the way it should be. Go out having fun, man.
Yeah.
You got a point. You got a good point. And I'm going to tell you mine. Mine is wrestle in a casket match. Because you'll never see me again.
That's a big ass casket.
That is one big ass casket.
You two room.
Piano box.
On the chat room is Louis G. Rich. Both of you fat. You both.
And he's over 200 pounds. Shut it.
Wait, why are you throwing me under the bus?
Because Jamal threw me underneath the bus. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
Corey?
That's some match for fun though. I've done one. It's a fun match. I hate being in tight spaces though. Of course, I lost. But
let's piggyback off the final match. We'll play hypothetical down the line. If there was ever a Bay City Thrashers reunion, who do you guys want? Who would, if you can get you, Brandon, and two others to call it that way, because that was your singles match was, my eighth cousin Alan. Who's your tag match?
Man, tag match. So him and I have talked about this a ton. We would love. I mean, now mind you, this is like me and Brandon in our prime.
Right.
We would love to wrestle FTR. I think our style and their style. I mean, if we're going like, I could pick anyone I freaking want. Yeah, it would be FTR. I think for anyone who's gotten the work, Brandon, like he is fake stiff. Like, I mean, you're in the ring with him. I mean, you're not leaving, broken bones or broken face or anything. But like he's a heavy hitter, and I think that, and just like I think our styles would just meld really well together. Like him and I joke, and it's like FTR is everything we would have been if we would have made it to TV. Like it was like they have that really old school. Like they can wrestle, they can be technical, but like they're roughnecks. They'll thrash you, and that's what the basic thrashers were. I mean, we could be comedic when we need to be comedic. We could be violent when we need to be violent. We could be in a bar fight. We could be in a technical hold for hold match. I guess the one thing we lacked is like neither one of us were very lucha. Yeah, I mean, Brandon and I have talked about many a times. Again, Brandon. So actually, he is now my brother-in-law. For anyone who doesn't know, we married sisters. So go us. So yeah, I actually just had dinner with him last night. So he lives 5 minutes down the street from me. So yeah, we've watched many a pay-per-view together, and it was just like, man, like FTR is just us, but in better shape and on TV.
Oh, okay.
Jamal, you're up.
All right. It's pretty cool that you married sisters. Like, you really can't say your best friend became brothers.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it worked out for us.
Yeah, that's great. So here's a go. What heavyweight championship that you won was the most meaningful championship era of Louis G's Rich?
So I would say there's two. So my first one was at Covey Pro, and that was super cool because like Covey Pro was the first company that really treated me like a main event wrestler. I mean, I used to have this T-shirt that said mid card main eventer. That was just like, I mean, I saw myself as like, early 2000s Chris Jericho. Like I'm gonna rock your main event, your mid card, to the moon. But Covey, was the first one that's like every show it was like a running joke in the locker room when they would go over my match. It'd be like Louis G. Rich with promo versus, and it was just every time there was like this, like it would like this build up. It'd be like Louis G. Rich, and it would like like kind of like that indie, like with promo when we'd go over at the locker room. So he was the first one to really like consistently put a microphone in my hand. He was the first one to really, put me in main events. He let me do a lot of my own stuff as far as like storylines or like ideas I had. Yeah, he was the first one to put a single like the heavyweight title on. In a business where people say, titles don't mean anything, I disagree to an extent. If you have a promoter who really believes in the company that he runs, those titles mean something to him. And if he thinks that you're good enough or talented enough or enough of a star to be his champion, to me that means something. As much as I love professional wrestling, how much I think it's an art, and as much as I know how much creativity goes into it, if I'm working for a good promoter and they're like, hey, we want to make you our champion, like that means something to me. And I put a lot of that pressure on my back. Now, I mean, I've worked at other companies where it's definitely, it's some guy and he's booking, a bunch of, people who've been training for 3 months, and he's just putting titles on his buddies and stuff. To me, it doesn't mean as much because you're not putting just the art's not there, the love for the business isn't there. So that one meant a lot to me winning that one. My mom and my stepdad and a couple of my siblings actually got to be there for me to win it. We got to cut this really cool promo. I was crying in the ring and stuff. Super cool moment. And then, not to play to the room, but when I won the CCW heavyweight title, that was late, pretty late in my career. It just meant a lot because I have been on and off with CCW since 2007. I've gone through the ebbs and flows of what I meant to CCW. I was the guy that they would book once in a blue moon, if they had a spot open. Then I was the guy who, I was on pretty regularly, but, I was like a filler guy. And then I was a guy that, they depended on me to get good matches out of me. And they gave me and Brandon a chance as a tag team. And then, I started to become a guy that was in storylines and stuff. So just to go through the whole gambit of where I was in the company, and going from that first show I was with CCW where I was looking around like these guys are going to join together and murder me if I piss one of them off, to now being one of those guys that's like, if someone does something to Lewis Rich, we're going to murder that guy in the park. It was just, going from being an outsider to a member of that family just meant the world to me. The 2 times after, I'm not going to get upset. Am I? No, I'm not the 2 times that after I left wrestling, so I left in the end of 2018. I did 1 match in 2019 for that one of those big UWE big joint shows, and I remember seeing Rob and Kathy and immediately just started crying, like hugging your dad. Your dad will hug tears out of just about anybody. And, and I'm sure this is killing Rob's mystique, but he's the biggest freaking cuddly teddy bear in the world. And just, that guy means so much to me. He's been one of the most constant people in my career. And when things are going good for me, I know he's proud of me. And when things are going bad for me, I know he's sad for me. And when I was gone, out of the business for that time, and with everything that was going on, Rob was one of the people who reached out to me constantly. And Kathy both just reached out to me constantly. So when I won the CCW title, that just it meant the world to me, because it was just I fucking love this guy. I know he loves this business. I know he loves this company. I know what he goes through for this, this company that he runs, and for him to be like, I want to put the title on you, just it meant the world to me.
Why did you change my name to Poop Emoji?
Love, I tell just this really heartfelt story.
Yeah. Right. Jamal,
I'm not going to cry on this, fucking video call. And then it's oh, his name's Poop Emoji now. Right on.
It just fits, Jamal.
Oh, of course it fits.
All right. We're going to take a 30-second break.
Bro.
So I can play this video, and then we'll come right back to this.
All right.
Cool.
Sounds like.
Hi, Eric Redbeard here, letting you know that Pro Wrestling Valier, Classic Championship Wrestling, and Seven Mountains Wrestling are uniting. Coming to the York Revolution Stadium, May 20th, 2023. See you there.
All right, guys, you definitely heard it. Eric Redbeard, May 20th. York Revolution Stadium.
Eric Redbeard, brother, I'm coming to kick your butt, and I'm going to do all that I have to do to put you down. I'm going to chop a tree down, brother. Understand, when you get chopped down, brother, everybody's going to know it's me.
Mr. Pink versus Louis G. Rich. Book it.
Let's do it. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Talk business.
I
Let's do
think
it.
we've only been in the ring like twice together. We did that 3-way, you, Ed House, and I.
I was there
Where
for
I think
that.
we
Yep.
all left that match just beating the crap.
Yeah.
And then we were in a 6-man. I don't know if you and I were on the same team or not, though.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, it was me, you, somebody else versus Hitman, Mr. Grimm, and then Buff Bagwell. That was the Buff Bagwell match, wasn't it?
I believe, yeah.
Yeah,
Weren't you in the NWO match too?
I was. Dude, I've wrestled Buff Bagwell more times than I can count, man.
I manage the NWO. That's my claim to fame. That's it. It's because Bischoff didn't want to walk to the ring. That's all.
Buff was hilarious, dude, because he was in the locker room and they're going over the match. And I'm going to tell this story without sound like I'm trying to put myself over. But at this point, I had worked Buff a few times, so he's in his gear bag, and I walk up and I shove him, and I was like, "How you doing in my locker room?" And he whipped around, and he was like, "Oh shit, Lewis!" And we're dabbing it up and throwing it up and stuff. I look over, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and X-Pac are looking at you like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Don't touch the hat.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Don't touch the hat box, brother. Don't touch the hat. Yeah.
All right. So, Lewis, you talked about tag wrestling and your singles career. Which one do you prefer, tag or singles?
Probably singles. Honestly, one of the problems with tag wrestling is there's not enough legit tag teams. There's we'll use Covey for example. He will build tag teams, and he'll have Johnny West and Bobby East, and they're going to be the East-West Connection, and they're a tag team. But every other weekend, one guy's in Delaware, the other guy's in Maryland, and the week after that, one's in Pennsylvania, the other one's in New Jersey, and then a month goes by, and then they're back together. Brandon and I, when Brandon and I first started tagging, and this isn't to put anything over, but I turned down booking because I was doing singles, and they wanted to book me, and I said, well, I'm in a tag team now. They're like, well, we don't want you as a tag team. I'm like, all right, well, call me when you do. And I lost bookings taking on, not taking on Brandon, but I want this tag team to happen. So, we kind of it was just look, you either have to put us in tag matches, or it has to be we are presented as a tag. I'll work a singles match, but this guy's coming out with me. We're being announced I'm being announced as one half of the Bay City Thrashers. I want everyone to know that we are a tag team. So I really enjoyed tagging. I got lucky with with Alan and Brandon. Both guys really, one, we have very similar mindsets as far as what we want out of a professional wrestling match. And though the style I wrestled with when I tagged with Alan, the style I wrestled with Brandon were very different. It just gelled really well. So putting together matches was really easy. And then, we traveled together. So we could talk about in the car ride there. And we had matching gear, and, we put together an actual tag team. And most companies, I feel like it's happening more and more now, but at the time when we were running, hot, it was just, there wasn't a ton of true tag teams. It was guys who worked together at this company, and they were a tag team at this company, but then they were singles guys this week and single guys this week. So yeah, singles, I really like that. Plus I like just it being on me. My success, my downfalls, everything is on me. I liked just selling myself. It's not much different than getting a tag team over, but I was lucky. Alan and Brandon were they weren't lazy. They weren't all right, Rich, you handle all the social. They were in it to win it as well. But yeah, I just think I had in ring, I had more success and more fun singles, but traveling was definitely much more fun as a tag.
I dig it.
Definitely.
All right, let me jump in here quick. I ask this to everybody, get you thinking a little bit. If 2023 Louis G. Rich could go back in time with all his knowledge and his abilities to day one of training Louis G. Rich, what would you say to them?
So first thing I would have said was find a different pair of guys to train you. Would have been the first thing that I said. It's hard. I'm trying to answer it like without thinking too deep into it. I'm a weird butterfly effect kind of guy. Like I feel like if I wouldn't have trained here, then I wouldn't have met this person, and then I never would have met Rob, and then I never would have met this person. I never would and then I never would have worked here. So I'm trying. Like I've had a very blessed career. Like there's a couple years that really sucked pretty bad early in my career, but I mean I've gotten to wrestle some really cool people. I'm not going to like name drop a bunch of names, but I got to wrestle a lot of really cool legends and people who just, got to teach. Like they taught me so much. I've made some really good friends in the business. I think overall I have a really good reputation in locker rooms as what kind of a character I am. Like I don't think anyone hates me. I think I'm pretty well liked. So I'm going to answer your question, but but if I'm going to get really deep about it, I wouldn't change anything because I don't know if I'd be sitting here right now. I might not be married to my wife if I would have gone. What if I trained at this place and met some chick named Sally and her and I fell in love and whatever. So, but to answer your question, the two things I would have done different is I would have told myself, don't be associated with these two dudes. Go train somewhere else. And then I think the other thing I would have done is look, man, you're going to come into some money. You're not good. Your goal is not to make it on TV. Your goal is to start your own company and be smarter with your money. And don't just let anyone have access to it. Those are the two things I would have told myself.
And you would have booked Aiken Pembroke as your heavyweight champion. I had to name drop there just for the hell of it. It's fun.
Yeah. I think at a time there definitely Aiken would have been a world champion at Trophies of Wrestling.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Yeah. Oh man, that's honestly. I know this wasn't your question, but that's honestly. So again, I've had a really, really cool career. I mean, I've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, not to repeat myself, but I had a really blessed career. The only two things that I didn't get to do was wrestle outside the country. I really wanted to wrestle in England, but I didn't want to be one of those guys that paid my weight. Like I wanted to be booked to wrestle in England, not I paid to fly over there and then beg some promoter to put me on so then I could, put on my, 8x10s that international wrestler. Like I wanted to legit wrestle overseas. It was happened once or twice, and then it didn't. And then I'm bummed that I never got to start, a wrestling company. But if I have to trade those for the wrestling career that I guess I think it's an even trade, fair trade.
That's cool. So, question: who would you pick as your partners for a 6-man tag?
Alan and Brennan. I mean, yeah, I'd pick my two former tag team partners.
Name be?
Say again?
What would the name be?
So Alan and I was the Charm City Connection, and then Brennan and I were the Bay City Thrashers, which was yet another like Baltimore-centric name. Metallica used to refer to themselves as the Bay City Thrashers because they're from a Bay City in California. Baltimore is a Bay City, so that's why we use that. And we're also huge Metallica marks. Brendan actually has a Metallica tattoo because he's the coolest. So I don't know. It'd probably be some like TNA version of like where they just cram two gimmicks together and make it one. Be like the Bay City Connection, probably, or Charm City Thrashers.
I'm copywriting that right now.
I'm sure it would have been one of the two. It would have been the Bay City Connection, or it would have been the Charm City Thrashers, which I actually think that sounds cooler.
It sounds cool as shit. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
CCT.
I guess to kind of go off of Corey's question, and I guess kind of like the last question, because we'll give you some time to yourself too to get yourself over. If you had to give any advice to anyone that wants to wrestle or that's, I'm not going to say green, but very new into the business, what would it be?
The biggest advice I would give is, and this is one of the things that I like. The business is you're gonna get out of the business what you put into it, in my opinion. Like, if you want to be a guy who wrestles once a month at your buddy's company, then that's what you're gonna be. If you want to be a guy who travels around the world, that's what you're gonna be. You have to be willing to put the work in to get it. You have to be willing to make the deals, kiss the asses, sleep in your car, all that kind of shit. Like, you have to be willing to do those things. The thing that I struggled with, and now as a 38-year-old, guy who's done this for a long time, is like, no matter what it is you want to do in the business, it's okay. I used to think guys who only want to wrestle one show a month or once 3 times a year, I'm like, those guys don't respect wrestling. They don't love the business. It's like, no, they love the business enough to want to do it 3 times a year, and that is okay. That is fine. I also used to think, like, these guys who are, basically wrestling and traveling 3 states over and getting paid nothing, oh, they're such idiots. Like, no, that's what they want to do. That's how much they love wrestling. That's fucking okay. Like, whatever you want to do in this business, as long as you're not, hurting yourself, hurting anybody else, being a douchebag or being a pedophile, just freaking do it. Another thing, like, just remember, you're only going to live once. So if you miss someone's birthday, their 25th birthday, they're not going to get another 25th birthday. If you miss Grandpa's retirement, Grandpa hopefully isn't going to be retiring again. You missed your sister's wedding, hopefully she ain't getting married again. You know what I mean? So, the wrestling is sacrifice. I think art is sacrifice. And I think a lot of, whether you're in a band, you're putting on art exhibits, you're a dancer, whatever, like, any art that you're in, it's sacrifice. But you also got to remember that when it's all done, the boots are put away, the guitars, put in the closet, whatever, like, those events that you miss, they're gone. You miss them. So just make sure, like, I'm not a guy who lives in much regret, but I do think about, like, relationships that, I've hurt in the past, and events that I've missed. And at the end of the day, it's like, were they things I should have missed? Would my life have been, would my wrestling career have been ruined if I missed these things? I mean, I think all you guys can agree that, wrestling's tough. Like, you miss a show, you miss an opportunity, I mean, a lot of times you don't know the opportunity's there until, the show's already booked, and, you're like, hey, by the way, next month I've got a wedding to go to. It's like, oh man, I was going to put you in a ring with insert TV guy here, and it's like, what do I, so it makes you terrified to do anything outside of wrestling because, you're like, I don't want to miss that opportunity. But just, I mean, if you get the opportunity once, the opportunity is going to be there again. I don't think there's anything I don't believe in missed opportunities. I mean, if you're good enough that someone's considering putting you in the ring in a cool situation, as long as the person's not a complete douchebag, I mean, they've got to understand you got a real life, and you'll get that opportunity again. So that was a whole lot of advice. Yeah. Crammed into one. But no, man, just freaking love your art and freaking do what makes you happy. Whether it be, grinding out every day of the week, or, just being there, who don't let anyone tell you what your passion is. Fucking enjoy wrestling however you see fit. As long as you're not hurting yourself, hurting anyone else, or being a fucking pedophile. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I'm with it.
So, I mean, we're coming to the end of the show. So, why don't you tell us like some shows that you're going to be at and where you're going to be at, basically.
Yeah. So I'm not wrestling a ton like I used to be. My goal it was kind of just maybe like once, twice a month. This is the Lewis Rich farewell tour. It's for anyone who was like, he's back, and I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm back for I'm like Mountain Dew Triple Black or whatever it's called. I'm back for a limited time. I'm the McRib. I'm here today, gone tomorrow. My goal is through 2023. As long as my wife doesn't hear me, might bleed into 2024 a little bit, just with how things are shaking out. But yeah, I mean, right now I've got World Domination next month in Martinsburg, West Virginia. I'm not going to remember dates, everyone. It's on my Facebook. I'm sorry for the promoters who are possibly watching this. Like, this so bitch putting over the date. I think it's March 11th. So, haha, you can't be mad at me, LT. March 11th in Martinsburg. Don't ask me about the address. You're already on Facebook. Just look it up. I'm wrestling the Hawaiian Warrior Hikoa. He's talking a bunch of shit about burning my boots. I'm going to hide his helmet and take a dump in it when he's not looking. April, I have World Domination again, and then I will be at the UWE show where I will be wrestling. I don't know. I haven't been told yet, but I'm going to kick somebody's ass. I might just show up and try to put myself in another title match or something. Yeah, beyond that, I mean, I've reached out. I need to reach out to Rob again. My friend here, Flatjack Johnson, sir. Is that supposed to be senior? And you messed up and said sir. Well, I want to reach out to Bliss. I've got a couple guys in Delaware that I've reached out to. I want to wrestle. I just kind of want to go out. I want to wrestle my buddies. I'm not looking. I've kind of I don't know, for people who've saw my promo that I put out a couple weeks ago. I'm not looking to win titles. I'm not looking to reinvent the Lewis Ridge brand. Like, I did a lot of stuff for a lot of other people during my first run, and with this farewell run, like I'm doing it for me. I want to go out. I want to have some fun matches. I want my kid, who's now old enough to like watch wrestling and understand what I'm doing and actually remember, seeing it. Like, I can show him pictures like, hey, you were like 1.5 and you came to my show, but like now, like, you get like, well, I have a match and we can talk about it and stuff. I'm just pumped. I was getting to a point where, like, if I'm going to come back, I'm going to do this. It's kind of like not that I'm an old man, but I didn't want to be much older than I am trying to start back over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, So I want to. I don't have really, like, I don't want to put over a Twitter or a Facebook or an Instagram or anything. I mean, what I want to put over is like, come out and see some matches. I've been absolutely loving, and I know I make every question like a 10-minute answer, but and I'm not going to remember names because I have a shit memory. But I've had so many fans reach out to me, and they'll be like, "Hey, little, Jimmy used to come to your shows. Here's him now." And it's this grown-ass man now. But then he'll show me a picture, and it's like this kid who, like, he looks like my son now, but it's been 10, and now this he's 16, and he's got a mustache and shit. I'm just like, no way. It's so wild. Like that's the stuff. Like, please keep doing that. Anyone who's watching, just please, like, keep effing my mind up by sending me pictures of your grown-ass kids who are now adults. But, yeah, I mean, like, come out, support the shows. Come out. My hope is, and this might sound cocky of me to say, my hope is that someone who used to watch me wrestle will come out to a show to see me and fall back in love with wrestling by seeing someone else on that show. If I can, bring back one lap stand, or maybe someone who hasn't checked out a CCW show or a World Domination show, And they come because they heard that I was going to be on it, and they're like, "Man, this product's this company's really cool. I'm going to check out what they do next month, whether I'm there or not." That would be like the coolest.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast, Lewis.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me ramble at you guys for an hour.
Ramble on, man. Ramble on. It's fun. It's always fun and easy.
No, definitely. We'll definitely have to have an episode 2 because I'm sure we all have more questions.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you again. Thank you, Corey. Jamal, thank you for coming on, even though you were late.
I was confused.
Well, there goes your title shot. Just saying.
Way to go.
Oh, wait, I forgot you're the booker. All right, guys. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Until next time.
Definitely.
Wait, we got 3 minutes.